Hello and a warm welcome to our special report, the program that brings you a ground zero view from whichever part of the country the Rajya Sabha TV cameras are travelling. This week we are in the state of Himachal Pradesh, a state which is known for its agro-based activities. And one of them is sericulture, the art of silk rearing. There was a time when sericulture was quite prevalent across the state, but now it's restricted to only certain pockets. Over the next 30 minutes, we take a closer look at sericulture. What are the changes which this agro-based activity has seen, and what are the governments doing to promote it? Himachal Pradesh is known for its natural beauty, diverse ecosystems, rivers and valleys. The economy of the mountainous state is chiefly agrarian, where 9 out of 10 households are involved in agriculture. But small and marginal farmers of this low-income state find it difficult to sustain their livelihoods and are always on the lookout for some extra income. Sericulture or rearing of silkworms is an additional livelihood activity for a large number of farmers.
It is a subsidiary occupation, it is an additional income generating activities, and in that way we can say that the most suitable option for the small and marginal farmers.
Sericulture has great potential for generating productive rural employment. Endowed with favourable conditions for mulberry farming and silkworm rearing, Himachal has been a source of superior quality bivoltine cocoons. Sericulture becomes attractive in context of the state's development priorities due to its eco-friendly character.
As on date, you will find that though the area under sericulture has increased only marginally due to our interventions, but the production has increased a lot. This is due to the vertical growth, that is the growth in productivity that we have been able to ensure.
Asia is the largest producer of silk in the world, contributing 95% to the global output. The bulk of it is produced in China, India, Japan, Korea and Brazil. India is ranked as the second largest producer of raw silk in the world and contributes 18% to the total global output. According to available records, sericulture was introduced in India about 400 years ago, and the silk industry flourished till 1857, with an annual production of 2 million pounds of silk fibre. Rajya Sabha TV crew travelled through the interiors of Himachal Pradesh to find out more about the farmers practicing sericulture in the state. After its handicrafts helped Himachal Pradesh earn fame, sericulture caught the fancy of small and marginal farmers in the state. It became popular among farmers as it supplemented their income considerably, but the activity declined because of various factors.
One of the limitations is that we cannot sustain only on 2 crops. Out of that also 80% of the production is coming from spring crop only. Autumn crop contributes only 25%. So second challenge is that how to stabilize this autumn crop.
Till 5 years ago, Pratap Chand was a keen practitioner of sericulture, but gave it up because of the lack of marketing facilities. He now is into horticulture as that generates money faster. Pratap misses those good old days when he used to market the cocoons but used the fact that he did not get enough support from the government.
पहले हमारे जो बुजुर्ग थे वो भी इस रेशम के कीड़े पालते थे, उसके बाद मतलब आस्ते आस्ते सबने छोड़ दिया। जब किसान को मिलेगा ही कुछ नहीं तो काम क्यों करेगा।
Sericulture currently is practiced in only 8 districts of the state: Shimla, Mandi, Kangra, Hamirpur, Bilaspur, Solan and Sirmaur. And the biggest challenge is marketing of silk cocoons.
At one point of time, the cocoon prices in 2009-10, they increased abnormally high. Then in 10-11, they crashed suddenly. Now the farmers treated that as a crash. We are telling them that they should look at cost plus margin, because they have to cater to the downstream market, or downstream industry also.
Sericulture as a component of integrated farming was introduced in the Mandi district of Himachal Pradesh, enabling more than 400 families to take up 3 harvests per annum. Presently, over 500 tribal families have taken up silk production as a major source of livelihood. As many as 8,400 poor families spread over 1,800 villages practice sericulture in Himachal Pradesh. The state government plans to increase the number of such families to 30,000 and to increase their average annual income from 5,000 to 6,000 to 20,000 per annum. When you enter the Hamirpur district, you see vast expanse of mulberry farms like these, and they form an important component of the silk rearing operations. Acres and acres of mulberry spread across the hill slopes of Himachal. For any farmer engaging in sericulture, this is a basic requirement. I am right now in one of the mulberry plantations in Nadon, and these are the mulberry leaves on which the silkworms feed. These leaves are plucked from the trees, cut and then served to the insects. Harvesting of the leaves takes place generally at the mulberry plantations, and then begins the silkworm rearing process. Behind me you see is a state laboratory inside which silkworm rearing is done. Inside these labs you will see the various growth stages of the worms, from eggs to larvae to cocoons. Let's take you inside. This is the silkworm rearing room. Seeds spread on the trays are maintained at a temperature not exceeding 25 degrees Celsius. Weather conditions at present permit 2 crops a year, but very often weather becomes the biggest hurdle.
Weather destroys, and sometimes they don't get the good market. So we are trying to have it cocoons and let them be sold in the market.
Silkworm rearing is extremely challenging as it requires technical support to regulate the quantity of pesticides, especially during the first 10 days. This is where the problem lies. Farmers complain that technical experts from the Sericulture department are not regular with their visits, and the unscientific use of pesticides leads to the damage of the crop. आपकी पूरी फसल बर्बाद हो गई थी?
हाँ जी।
तो फिर आपने क्या किया?
जो देते हैं ना रेशम के कीड़े, उनसे बात की। तो उन्होंने बताया कि दवाई वगैरह कामया ज़्यादा डाल दी थी, उसकी वजह से।
कितना पेस्टिसाइड डालना है, क्या करना है, उसकी कोई ट्रेनिंग नहीं हुई आप लोगों की?
जी नहीं।
तो अगर कीड़ियां काड़ियां में मरी जांदियां तां दवाई देना हुंदे, दिखना है बड़े घट होंदे भी।
Time to time the checking which is required, that is not happening. The officers are not coming, they are not checking whether proper quantity of pesticide गया है कि नहीं गया उसमें. Once the silkworms are ready, the long wait for the cocoon begins. During this process, the silkworm grows in size to become caterpillar. And gradually, the worms release the cocoons, which contain meters and meters of silk fiber. This white ball which you see in my hand is a final stage of the silkworm, which is called the cocoon. And out of this cocoon is extracted this silk thread. And of course, the final product would be a ravishing sari or a silk cloth. In reality, sericulture is an occupation by women and for women because women form 60% of the workforce and 80% of the silk is consumed by them. Sericulture is a catalyst for socio-economic development and reduction of poverty among small and marginal farmers. Women form an important part of the workforce in sericulture industry. Along with their household chores, they don't mind taking up the additional work. But the biggest disappointment is the monetary gains disproportionate to the labor input.
वो तो सरकार ने जो देना वो ही मिलना ना, हमारे बोलने से थोड़ी दे देना सरकार ने। ऐसा क्या है पता।
Low return for the cocoon prices is a major dampener in this business.
On an average, a silkworm rearing farmer with a small land holding produces 5 to 6 kilograms of cocoon with a consistent effort of 1 to 2 months. Generally, farmers get 300 rupees per kilo as middlemen pocket most of the profits. This hilly backdrop which you see behind me is the district of Kangra, and we are now heading towards a village called Baba Panja, which also has certain pockets where sericulture is practiced. Meet a rich farmer from this area, Gurdev Singh Thakur, a horticulturist by heart. He cultivates mulberry plants in his fruit orchards but does not practice sericulture. The reason he gives is interesting, as this is one of the factors why many farmers in Himachal Pradesh don't take up sericulture.
हम किसी भी जीव हत्या करके कोई पैसा जो है वो नहीं, जैसे फिशरी का काम है, पिगरी का काम है।
But Gurdev is also a part of the Farmers Advisory Committee in Kangra, and since he has worked closely with sericulture farmers, he knows how this subsidiary farming has come down as compared to the olden days when Himachal was part of the Silk Route.
किसान है, फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन अभी इतनी साउंड नहीं है, तो यदि एक बार उनको नुकसान हो जाता है तो दूसरी बार वो उस काम को हाथ ही नहीं डालते हैं और फिर काम नहीं करते हैं।
Women and children of Himachal who have been traditional sericulturists are going further and further away.
वैसे हमारा खुद मतलब पढ़ाई करना चाहते हैं, आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं, कुछ अपनी जैसे पहचान बनाना चाहते हैं।
Plucking these mulberry leaves is a tedious task. So while I try doing it, let's take a break and return with lots more on sericulture. Back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching our special report on sericulture in Himachal Pradesh. Because of the diminishing interest among farmers, both the central and the state governments have initiated a number of programs to popularize sericulture. These, along with Catalytic Development Program, MGNREGA and Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, look to strengthen infrastructure, capacity building of human resources and encouraging clusters for the development of sericulture.
We are number 2 in the world in production of silk. We are behind China only. But we are far behind China. But whatever silk we are producing, we are proud that we are our domestic production is acting as a hedge and as a protection to our domestic further downstream industry of weavers, garment manufacturers and exporters in the silk sector.
Silk rearing process takes place at the farm level, providing farmers an opportunity to diversify from conventional farming. In addition to this, reeling of the silk threads also provides a great homestead livelihood opportunity, especially for women. Right now, I'm at a reeling unit in Bilaspur where the post-cocoon production work actually begins, from reeling to lace making to bookmaking. Sericulture officials are not ready to say it on camera, but the reality is that this is the area which needs the main focus, and the governments are not doing things at the pace at which it is required. Post-cocoon production begins the actual work of making raw silk. Cocoons are dried up in a boiler. Then the silk thread or the filaments are extracted to do the reeling process, and after reeling, the silk thread is spun into small bundles through a process called bookmaking. But the biggest irony is that not many reeling units exist in Himachal Pradesh. At present, there are only 6 units in the entire state. But according to the 12th plan, a number of them are in the pipeline.
कम होने का कारण इसमें एक तो कारण ये है कि लोगों का लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड बढ़ा है, नगर डेवलप हो रहे हैं, तो किसान कम हो रहे हैं जो इस कार्य को नहीं कर रहे हैं.
The government has provided 1900 crores of rupees for skill training in this 12th budget, and we will allocate substantial money for silk also.
Industry experts say Himachal is unable to market or even weave the silk fibre because of lack of facilities like power looms and weaving units. Comparisons are often made with states like Tamil Nadu, West Bengal and Karnataka, the other leading markets of silk in the country.
अभी तो यहाँ पे हैंडलूम कोई भी नहीं है और पावर लूम का एक फैक्ट्री है जो जीआईसी वाले चला रहे हैं, इंडस्ट्रीज डिपार्टमेंट हिमाचल प्रदेश वाले चला रहे हैं, वही है एक नूरपुर में, बाकी कुछ नहीं है.
Sericulture is doing very well. Only thing is maybe you have seen in UP, maybe you have seen somewhere where they lean, that means very little sericulture is there, but where sericulture is in a good acreage, there it is going very well.
Let's take a short break at this point in time and return with lots more on sericulture in Himachal Pradesh. Back in a moment. The present form of sericulture organization under the Department of Industries in Himachal Pradesh is almost 6 decades old and needs a major restructuring and rationalization due to modified roles and expectations in relation to the changing needs of the silk industry. Central Silk Board is an autonomous body administering research and development of technology in states involved in sericulture. But the State Sericulture Department in Himachal Pradesh is reeling under a severe manpower crunch at the moment. The Sericulture wing in Himachal Pradesh is headed by the Deputy Director Sericulture at the directorate level. He reports to the Director of Industries for activities related to sericulture development. He is further assisted by Superintendent, Grade 2, Ministerial and other staff. According to the report of the latest coordination committee, 40% of the posts are lying vacant, and by 2014, most of the senior officers along with the technical staff will be on the verge of retirement. It's a fact that there is a dearth of skilled and trained people. For making sericulture a profitable avocation, economically viable, sustainable and eco-friendly, experts say that there is a need to co-monitor the central sector schemes. And this is something which is not happening at a regular interval. Himachal government plans to conduct training programs and organize exposure visits periodically to improve entrepreneurial skills. Under this program, sericulture officers would undergo orientation programs to update their professional and technological skills. Sericulture is one of the most labor-intensive sectors which combines the activities of agriculture and industry. Its production process involves a long chain of interdependent operations which provide livelihood to a number of people, mostly the small and the marginal farmers. Central government is encouraging private entrepreneurs to raise the food plants, silkworm seed production, silk reeling and even weaving by providing initial incentives and financial support. Centre is estimating to generate employment through sericulture to 7.56 million people compared with 7.25 million in 2010-2011, indicating a growth of 4.3%.
We are giving subsidy to the machine, we are giving subsidy to the farmer, we are giving skill training, we are arranging reeling machines with subsidy, we are providing marketing also to them for these things.
According to the report by the Central Silk Board, area under sericulture has increased to 1,81,089 hectares in 2011 and 12 compared to 1,70,314 hectares in 2010 and 11. Year-wise incremental in the Mulberry area during the 11th plan is marginal, which is due to rapid urbanization in sericulture belts, increase in input costs, labour problems, drought in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka and frequent price fluctuations.
You must have seen the reelers putting their hands in boiling water and taking the silk threads out. Their fingers have all gone bad. It is pity to see that, but over the years we have developed multi-end reeling machines, and now of late in the 11th plan we have also imported automatic reeling machines from China.
Currently, the domestic demand for silk is nearly 25,000 metric tons, of which only 19,000 metric tons is getting produced in the country and the rest being imported from China. "97% of the raw silk comes from 5 states: Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Jammu and Kashmir, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. Himachal Pradesh contributes a lowly 1.5% according to the 12th plan document. Sericulture has been accorded the status of priority industry, and since the climatic conditions fully permit sericulture in Himachal Pradesh, perhaps there is a need for the government to harness manpower, enlarge the production base and improve the productivity levels. Because of the unparalleled grandeur, silk is known as a queen of textiles. But the biggest irony is that the people who are involved in the silk production at the ground level are not the ones wearing this expensive fabric. Sericulture in Himachal Pradesh can thrive only if the government increases the pace of the logistical and the technical support, along with an assured market to the small and marginal farmers. That's all the time we have for. See you next time on another journey from our entire team, which includes my camera persons, Saroj Das and Sudhanshu Sahu. Thanks for watching.